Okay. And what do you understand by MRD1 and MRD2?
Ma'am, MRD1 is margin reflex distance. It is measured by in MRD1, whereas the distance between the lower lid margin and the pupillary reflex is MRD2.
Okay. Does the lid crease play an important role in these cases?
Yes, ma'am. The lid crease signifies the attachment of the LPS aponeurosis. Also, if the lid crease is absent, this is commonly seen in congenital ptosis. If there is a higher than normal lid crease present, it could indicate LPS aponeurosis dilesion or disinsertion.
Okay. So in case in a patient of congenital ptosis, the lid crease is absent, then what surgery would you prefer to do?
Sorry, ma'am.
What line of action would you take?
Ma'am,
In case the lid crease is totally absent.
for
Can you hear me?
congenital ptosis, the line of action depends on whether the patient has a high risk of amblyopia or not. If the ptosis is severe and there's a high risk of amblyopia, one should go with brow suspension or trailing surgery as soon as possible. If the risk of amblyopia is not very high, based on the LPS function, we will go with the further management. If the LPS function is more than 10 mm, that is, the LPS function is good, and if the ptosis is mild, then we would prefer a fascicular Servat surgery. If the ptosis is more than 2 mm, we can go with LPS advancement surgery. If the LPS function is less than 10 mm but more than 4 mm, we can go with the LPS resection surgery. And if the LPS function is extremely poor, that is less than 4 mm, we should go with the brow suspension surgery.
Good. Avinash, you can
What
take over.
pupillary abnormalities you look for in this patient? You said the pupils are normal.
So the patient has suffered from trauma 1 year back, and his vision is also not 6/6. That is, it is not optimal. So it is possible that the patient has had traumatic optic neuropathy. Therefore, we should look for a relative afferent pupillary defect in this patient.
Any other
The patient
abnormalities
might,
in the patient with ptosis comes to you? What other abnormalities you look for apart from the relative afferent pupillary defect?
ma'am, sir, we should look for Horner's syndrome.
Okay. Pupils myos or dilated?
So, Horner's syndrome patients present with meiotic pupils.
Okay. Suppose this patient would have come to you within 2 months of trauma and the patient has a ptosis and he says, yes, I would like to operate. Would you operate this patient? Within
So
2
ideally,
months?
we should wait for 6 months for the scar to stabilize, and many a times traumatic ptosis improves after 6 months. Even after 6 months, it is not improving. Then we should consider surgery.
So the Bell's phenomenon is normal in this patient,
Yes, sir.
right? So what is the significance of checking the Bell's phenomenon in a ptosis patient?
If the Bell's phenomenon is abnormal or poor, post-surgery, it may worsen because corneal exposure might happen after the surgery.
Okay, can you just go back to the examination slide? Is it possible that way?
Yes, I will do that. Just a second.
Okay. Meanwhile, what are the common causes of mild ptosis?
So Horner's syndrome,
Okay.
involutional aponeurotic ptosis.
Okay.
So congenital ptosis may also present with mild ptosis sometimes.
Okay.
Um,
In this patient, there is a history of trauma. What are the different mechanisms by which the ptosis can occur, especially traumatic ptosis I'm talking about?
so traumatic ptosis can be due to a mechanical cause in which there is direct laceration of the LPS muscles.
There can be a that's a myogenic cause. Mechanical cause would be fibrosis or scarring or cicatricial tethering of the LPS muscles. There may also be neurogenic causes in which the cranial nerve C palsy may occur, which can lead to ptosis. There may be aponeurotic causes in which LPS gets disinserted and causes ptosis.
In this patient, you said the fatigue test is negative, right? So what are the different tests you do to rule out the myogenic component in a ptosis? Myogenic component.
So we can do an ice pack test. We can do an hydrophonium test. Cogan twitch sign should be looked for. And apart from that, the fatigue test.
Why it is important to diagnose myogenic component in treatment point of view, especially in ptosis?
So myogenic ptosis causes are usually progressive in nature. So it is important to explain to the patient that he may require more than surgery more than once. And so we can also try medical treatment in cases of myasthenia gravis, which may improve ptosis.
Generally, in such cases, you overcorrect ptosis, you fully correct ptosis, or you undercorrect ptosis? Myogenic, if at all it is required.
So I'm not sure, overcorrect.
Here you have said the extraocular movements are normal, right? Full and free. Yes. What common muscles are commonly involved, especially in case of ptosis, especially congenital ptosis?
So congenital ptosis, there is an association of superior rectus palsy in 6% patients. So before undergoing a ptosis surgery, one should correct the hypertrophy of the patient. Only after that, ptosis must be corrected.
In such cases, suppose you want to operate such cases where there is elevation deficit with ptosis, which you would like to operate first? The ptosis or the superior rectus problem?
So first we will correct the superior rectus palsy, and only then we will go for ptosis surgery.
Tell me something about fascinella servate operation. What are the indications for fascinella servate? Can you do it in this patient?
So fascinella servate is usually good for congenital ptosis, which is mild and with a good LPS action.
Okay.
So in this patient, I would like to go for an LPS advancement or a LPS resection surgery or a molarectomy.
Justify why you want to do the LPS resection. Why not fascinella servate?
So fascinella servate is conjunctivotarsomolarectomy, and in this case, we are suspecting a dehiscence of the aponeurosis of LPS. So an LPS advancement would be more beneficial than fascinella servate.
How much amount of lead, the tarsal height is required basically for fascinella servate? Do you have any idea?
So it should not be less than 8 mm because around 4 mm is resected.
So how much maximum you can correct ptosis with fascinella servate?
So only 2 mm mild ptosis can be corrected.
That means every 2 millimeters, 1 millimeter of ptosis is corrected, right?
Yes.
Or wrong?
And how much of LPS resection do you do when you are doing LPS resection surgery? What is the calculation?
Ma'am, according to Putterman's rule, marginal limbal distance of the normal eye minus the marginal limbal distance of the ptotic eye into 3 gives us the LPS that should be resected.
And which approach would you like to do it from? LPS resection?
Ma'am, anterior approach I would like to go for.
In skin approach, you mean?
Skin approach, yes.
Skin approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Or conjunctival approach?
Ma'am, skin approach.
What are the names of the two surgeries? Which scientists' names do they go by? These two approaches. Any idea? If you don't know, it's okay.
No, ma'am, I don't know I just know it's anterior and posterior.
Okay, fine, no problem. How is Marcus-Gunn jaw winking phenomena important?
Ma'am, Marcus-Gunn jaw winking phenomenon is associated with congenital ptosis in 5% of the patients. It is because of misdirection of cranial nerve 5. So whenever the patient is using his pterygoid muscles, or especially for chewing, also for mastication, or when the patient is moving his jaw from side to side, there is sudden retraction of the ptotic lid on that side. In mild cases, we can
In mild cases, we can miss it.
yeah.
We have 2 more minutes to finish the first case.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, in moderate to severe cases of Marfan gun, we will have to disinsert the LPS and do a frontalis sling surgery.
Okay, ठीक है. Avinash, you want to ask anything else?
Just one question. What is the relation of ptosis with amblyopia?
So severe ptosis in severe congenital ptosis causes amblyopia if not
Unilateral or
corrected.
bilateral? Unilateral or bilateral?
So unilateral.
Bilateral causes more or unilateral causes more? Amblyopia.
Unilateral causes more amblyopia.
Okay. We'll go to next case, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. 19-year-old female student resident of Mumbai came with the chief complaints of progressive blurring of vision since 2 years with a frequent change of glasses every 3 to 4 months. She gives a history of frequent itching and rubbing of the eyes on inquiry, and there is no past history of any trauma or ocular surgery. She gives a past history of bronchial asthma in childhood, which was controlled on medication, and intermittently she used a nasal spray.
Please
She gives a personal history of recently diagnosed with a polycystic ovarian disease due to irregular menses, and gives a family history of similar eye complaints in younger sister. On examination, her unaided visual acuity is 6/60.
And then what is keratoglobus?
Keratoconus is a globular cornea where whole of the cornea is involved, and ectatic cornea with
And
yeah.
it is usually seen in. I mean, is it?
It is associated with collagen disorders like Ehlers-Danlos.
So generally congenital.
Yes.
That is what I was asking. Generally congenital. Okay. And any other sign that you see on clinical examination in moderate to severe keratoconus?
A lid sign, yes. The conical lid, lower lid protrusion, that is the Munson sign. When I tell the patient to look down, there will be conical configuration of the lower lid because of the cone.
Okay. And why are there these Vogt striae? You mentioned that on slit lamp examination, you can see Vogt striae. So what are they caused by?
They are the fine vertical lines in the deep stroma and the Descemet's membrane, which will disappear on digital pressure.
Okay.
And because of the ectasia, they go on increasing due to the collagenollytic activities of the enzymes. So,
okay. And what is Fleischer's ring?
Fleischer's ring is the iron deposition along the base of the cone. It is a hemosiderin that is deposited, and it can be seen in the mild cases on the slit lamp. On the in the older cases, it will become more prominent, and it will be useful when you are doing a penetrating keratoplasty to mark the cone.
Okay, good, very good. Avinash?
Can we go back to the examination?
Yes, sir.
So the slide is not shared.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I would like to ask Bhagyashree,
Yes, sir.
what are the suspicious things in the young patient where you suspect early keratoconus? Here, the patient is presented with only the change of glasses.
So there is one.
Yeah.
There is one more thing. She has papillae. She gives a history of rubbing of eyelids, frequent history.
Yes.
You mean to say all
And
VKC patients have keratoconus?
no, sir. But BKC is common in keratoconus patients.
Yeah, but suppose the patient comes to you, you would like to investigate in terms of any topo or something like that, suspecting
Yes,
that
sir.
this patient might have keratoconus. So what
Yes,
are
sir.
those cases?
Sir, looking at the astigmatism,
What type of
uh,
astigmatism? Okay, apart from astigmatism, other things
then sir, corneal signs are there.
like
So there is corneal thinning, ectasia. There are prominent corneal nerves and Fleischer's ring. So,
But Fleischer's ring may not be there in all cases. It is
yes,
not
ma'am.
always
Yes, ma'am.
seen.
Yes.
So, how would you suspect if a patient were to walk into your OPD and give you this history of frequent change of glasses and rubbing of eyes? So, that itself would make you suspicious of keratoconus?
Ma'am, even on torchlight, there is this Rizzuti sign which we can elicit. It will have a conical configuration of the cornea. Then
Yeah.
on dilated retinoscopy, we will have a scissoring reflex.
Okay.
to see the
So,
in fundus.
And
Sorry, ma'am.
no, go ahead.
What you would like to see in this patient, especially in fundus examination?
so few keratoconus patients, there is association with retinitis pigmentosa. So we can find that. And retro elimination will show an oil droplet sign.
Okay, good. Apart from keratoconus, let's leave keratoconus for a minute. But in astigmatic patients, what do you look for in the fundus? In normal astigmatic patients, what is your focus when you're doing a fundus examination? What do you look for?
Ma'am, we should see for myopia, myopic,
How
and
will you,
tilted discs.
what will you, myopia you can judge, yes, okay, when you are doing your fundoscopy, if you are doing by direct ophthalmoscopy, then. But what will you look for specifically? Which part of the fundus will you look for? And how will it be changed? In an astigmatic case, high astigmatism, let's take it. Something happens to the disc. Something happens to the disc in these patients.
Tilted disc can be
Yes,
there.
exactly. The disc is tilted
Yes.
in astigmatic cases. Okay. What is the treatment of mild, moderate, and severe keratoconus? Let's put it that way.
We can start giving the patient glasses. If the patient is okay with the glasses, then we can, otherwise we can try contact lenses. There are various types of contact lenses which are available, like a rose scale lens or a scleral contact lens,
Okay.
or a hybrid lenses.
Mm-hmm.
Then if the patient's cornea is thinner on a Pachy, less than 480 microns, so we can think of a C3R, that is collagen cross-linking, we can think of. Then if the
Right.
patient has had already an episode of an acute hydrops and has a scarring, and according to the level of the scarring, we can decide whether the patient can be taken up for a deep lamellar keratoplasty, anterior lamellar keratoplasty, or a penetrating keratoplasty.
Okay. But in the beginning, the first thing you'll try is spectacles.
Spectacles, yes, ma'am.
But you will only, it's not the patient being okay with them. The patient's vision should improve sufficiently. Only then will you prescribe glasses, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because here in this particular case, as you can see from the slide, the vision is not improving even after giving, means you have prescribed glasses and the vision is only improving to 6/24,
6/18,
which is not a satisfactory vision.
Yes,
So that
ma'am.
means this patient requires something more than that.
More than that, yes.
Okay. And in the history, there was a mention of the younger sister also having same problems.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Have been few studies suggesting there is a genetic association with the keratoconus as well as hormonal association. In history, ma'am, the female patients specifically present with the gynecological problems also. So they have revised a hormonal as well as genetic with collagen A4 disorders are associated. Other and also Down syndrome and Ehlers-Danlos Turners are also associated, genetic conditions. So keratoconus has some genetic predisposition, ma'am.
Okay. Avinash?
What are the indications for C3R? You do it on all keratoconus patients or certain keratoconus patients?
No, sir. Progressive keratoconus, the progressive increase in the thinning of the cornea of a patient of a keratoconus, and the change in their thinning should be monitored within 6 months, and as well as if there is post LASIK ectasia, sir,
Okay.
can go for a C3R.
Why it is important to diagnose keratoconus in patients who are going to opt for LASIK? Suppose
Because we are basically thinning the cornea, so they are prone for a post LASIK ectasia after LASIK or a refractive surgery.
where does the intrastromal corneal ring stand basically in treatment of keratoconus?
So they can help you to flatten the cornea along the cone. If we insert a ICRS, then they will flatten the cornea, and a refractive help will be there.
What are the different surgeries and indications for keratoconus, especially when other surgeries fail? As pupillary axis gets opacified, then what do you do?
So we can go for a deep anterior lamellar keratoplasty if the opacity is anteriorly placed till the descemet membrane. If it is deeper and involving the stroma as well, full thickness if it is involving, then the penetrating keratoplasty.
Suppose in this patient you do a retinoscopy with the what kind of reflex you will see?
There is a scissoring reflex because of the cone. There is a discrepancy of hypermetropia and myopia, so the reflex moves like a scissor. So we will have a.
And what about the direct ophthalmoscope? Suppose you look at a distance of around small distance with a direct ophthalmoscope to the pupil, what will you see?
There can be oil scissoring reflex will be there, and oil droplet sign.
Oil droplet sign. Why do you get oil droplet sign? Any idea?
It is here a retro elimination because of the cone. It shows such.
It's okay.
Can you get one or two non-inflammatory keratectic conditions?
Sir, pellucid marginal degeneration, Terence.
Inflammatory, I'm talking about.
Non-inflammatory.
Inflammatory.
Inflammatory.
Inflammatory. Inflammatory.
We have 3 minutes for her. Last 3 minutes.
Okay.
Peripheral ulcerative keratitis.
Peripheral.
Sorry.
Deep keratitis. Can it lead to ectasia?
If there is a thinning, ma'am, it will.
Obviously, if there's a thinning only. Actually, you mentioned something about hybrid lenses. What do you mean by that?
Hybrid lenses.
Or you just read it?
No, ma'am. They are rigid gas permeable over the. It is a combination of gas permeable rigid lens and hydrophilic and a hydrophobic component. Both are there, and there is a soft lens which is surrounding a rigid gas permeable, so that it sits on the cone and the surrounding
there's a skirt, there's a frill
Skirt,
around,
yes.
there's a frill around the RGP lens of the soft lens. Correct.
Frill,
Absolutely.
Last
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
How do you treat acute hydrops at an urgent basis?
So hypertonic sodium chloride drops,
No
patching of
patient
them we can.
he wants it fast.
Um,
He's not ready to wait till the edema subsides.
we can. Okay. Can C3F8 gas can be used, sir.
Okay, great. Are we through, Swapnesh, or still?
Yeah.
Yeah, so almost time up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a big thank you to, as Avinash sir had mentioned, a big thank you to these contributors. They are the lecturers from the Bombay Medical Colleges. So thank you for contributing to the OSCEs. So this is the first question. Who will answer? Anuja madam?
Dr.
Okay.
Akshita. Okay. Akshita, go ahead with this. A 20-year-old woman comes in with the 2-month history of painless progressive blurring of vision, clinically diagnosed as bilateral keratoconus. The first question here is, name at least 2 slit lamp sign visible in the image. We have just
Uh,
discussed.
Sir, first sign is Vaux triacene, and the second sign is conical protrusion of the cornea, sir. Central conical protrusion of the cornea.
Okay.
Uh, the definitive diagnosis would be corneal topography, and further management would be since it is progressive, so we could give C3R a chance. And there is scarring, so depending upon the involvement, we could go for penetrating keratoplasty.
Yeah, Avinash sir, madam, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah.
What is
Chronic
the-
In
Yeah,
case of
you can-
CPEO, finding seen on the muscle biopsy. What is the finding that we get on the muscle biopsy, and what is the inheritance pattern of this disease?
So inheritance pattern is autosomal dominant,
Hmm.
and sort of finding again. So
Anyone else?
This muscle dystrophy.
On muscle biopsy.
Okay, fine. So the ragged red fibers, which is very much suggestive of any myopathy here, and the inheritance pattern is mitochondrial. It is not autosomal dominant. So both the answers are not correct. So in a 50-year-old lady who comes with the history of chronic glaucoma, she is worried about an increasing whitish lesion in her eye. What is your diagnosis with this clinical picture? Okay.
Can you
Which
be
layer?
loud?
I can't hear. I can't hear him. What was the diagnosis he said?
He said band-shaped keratopathy.
Ah, okay.
Calcium
Material
Calcium where?
deposited.
on the Bowman basement membrane.
Bowman's or Descemet? Where exactly?
Bowman's membrane and also on the basement membrane.
And
Basement, not basement.
is there any treatment?
Chelation.
We like listen to
Dilation with?
EDTA.
So can you tell me full form of EDTA? Anyone else? Akshita?
Ethyl
Ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid.
Correct, Hitesh. That's perfect. So, sir, she answered the first question. He answered first question correctly. In the half part of the second, he answered. So, 7.5, is it okay?
So 7.5.
A 2-month-old female child presented with the lesion was this.
So it looks like
Yeah,
capillary
continue.
hemangioma of upper lid.
And medical management for this first line?
Uh, I don't know.
In US,
Yeah. What is the medical management?
So propranolol can be given.
Okay. Are we
okay.
satisfied?
So
Um,
so the expected answer was it was capillary hemangioma of in infancy, and the first line of medical management at present is tablet propranolol 1 milligram per kg to start with. So she partially answered. So sir, madam, how much to give?
What do you feel, ma'am?
7.5.
Okay.
So that is a horseshoe test.
What are the different types of retinal breaks?
Secondly, a retinal hole.
Okay. Go on to the next question.
So a giant tear is a full thickness retinal break which extends for more than 3 clock hours.
What are the usage of perfluorocarbon liquids in the retinal detachment surgery?
So in cases of nucleus drop, it is used to elevate the nucleus, or
We are talking in retinal detachment surgery.
Yeah, in GRT, what is the use?
Specific uses of these liquids in retinal detachment surgery. Anyone else can answer?
Ma'am, for as a tamponade, superior retinal detachment.
ma'am, if there is PVR or the retina is shrunken, it may be used to flatten the retina during the surgery.
Okay.
Okay, I think last 15 seconds, please answer.
To unroll the margins of the retinal break.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Avinash sir, how much should we give?
First question was right. The second question, what do you feel, ma'am? 7.5 or
8.
8?
Because she answered the giant retinal tear.
Yeah.
So 8, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Who will answer the next, Anuja ma'am?
Taking his name, but he's not answering. Dr. Akash.
Dr. Akash, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, Akash, please answer the question. Diagnosis of this fundus lesion and its features on OCT. If you do the OCT of this patient, what features you will expect to see?
Akash,
You want to pass it on?
Akash, it's already 30 seconds up. Please answer fast.
Yeah. Somebody else can answer if he cannot.
Age-related.
What is it?
Hiteshi, can you take this up?
So is it neovascular ARMP?
Yeah.
Uh,
Choroidal neovascularization. What do you see on OCT in such cases?
there may be a hemorrhagic PED or an IPCV or a RAP.
You are giving out diagnosis. He's asking features on OCT. You are giving differentials.
The Brooks membrane will be breached and there will be neovascularization and the RP layer will be elevated.
Okay. Next question.
So CAT trial was for the same neovascular ARMD. It was to see the efficacy of ranibizumab and bevacizumab, comparing the two.
Comparing it to?
The inference is there is no final difference in bevacizumab and Lucentis. That is the inference from the CAT trial.
Okay. Sumit,
Yes, sir.
correct?
The second question is correct. First, she answered partially.
Yeah.
So basically, CAT trial is when they compared bevacizumab and ranibizumab and found a similar effect. Only thing was the
Features on
systemic
OCT.
profile was much more safer in the ranibizumab compared to Avastin. That's what the expected. Yeah. So we
And
can give 7.5, ma'am. Is it okay?
the features on OCT very well. I
Yeah.
think.
She
So
should have
I-
mentioned fluid, subretinal fluid, intraretinal fluid. These are the signs of activity of a CNVM. So fluid is very important when you say features on OCT in case of an active AMD. Okay.
So,
So the abnormal finding is Gattia seen.
Okay.
The most probable diagnosis is Fuchs, most commonly seen in Fuchs endothelial dystrophy.
Okay. So the second sub question is, tell us 4 contributions of the Fuchs to ophthalmology.
So there are Fuchs heterochromic uveitis, then Fuchs spots seen in VKH, then
you know them. Come on.
Something you see in fundus in cases of sympathetic ophthalmitis.
Foster Fuchs, no,
That is myopia.
That's in myopia.
Dallin Fuchs,
Yeah, correct.
sympathetic ophthalmitis,
Yes.
Correct.
and Foster Fuchs in myopia.
Okay, so 3 you said. Okay. Anyone want to add for the 4th one? The malignant uveal melanoma was first described by the Fuchs, but he had described it as a sarcoma of uvea.
I think
So
she
these are
answered.
few contributions.
She answered well.
Okay. So full marks, ma'am?
Yes, full marks.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Please be loud and clear.
The lobster claw lobster claw, crab claw.
I could not hear him.
Yeah, please be loud.
The lobster claw or crab claw pattern.
No, we can't make
He's
out
saying
what you're saying.
lobster claw appearance. He's saying lobster claw appearance. Something.
Yes, yes.
Pure block.
And it is seen in which disease?
Pellucid margin region.
Sir, classic
Okay, next.
and occult.
Okay. What is ICGA? Mention 2 advantages of ICGA over FFA.
Choroidal
ICGA.
ICGA long form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Endocyanin green angiography.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mention
When do you do it?
In choroidal abnormality.
No, you have to be more specific. Mention 2 advantages over FFA.
Sir, ICG is done to rule out choroidal abnormality.
Yeah, we all know that, but in which 2 conditions has it distinct advantage over FFA?
Sir, CNVM and IPC. And CNVM and PED.
Again, sir, you can explain them.
Yeah, either you could have said either choroidal tumors, you could have said pachychoroid neovascularization. PCV is one right answer you gave was IPCV, where it has distinct advantage over FFA. So 7.5, I think. Yeah.
Okay. It's a 35-year-old patient presented with the left eye complete loss of vision, which was progressive, painless, and on examination, she has a left eye RAPD with minimal proptosis. Identify the pointed structure here. You can see a small arrow near the inferior part of the disc. What is this called as? This vessel specifically. There is some name to this vessel which you don't see normally.
Sir, is it an optociliary shunt?
Perfect. That's what expected. It is optociliary shunt. Sir, can you click once? There is MRI picture also of this patient. Yeah. Basically a sign by a name which was a transport medium before before the trains were existing.
Tram track
It is still used in yeah, perfect. It is tram track appearance. It is seen in optic nerve
meningioma.
It is optic nerve sheath meningioma.
That was the end of the OSCE.
That wraps it up.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. We'll send your marks across.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
both your cases.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
your
Swapnil.
cases were very good.
Thank you. Yeah, my apologies for today because we have held more than at least 40 such webinars, but today post trains both are internet connections.
No, it was very
I
challenging.
know. Hey, but it was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. मेरा भी revision हो गया बहुत कुछ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all. Good night.